Whether you're the victim or the defendant in a domestic violence case, there's one very important aspect that you may be missing. The defendant could be required to pay the alleged victim, and sometimes the amount can be shockingly high. In this video, I'm going to be explaining the surprising things that the victim can use the criminal justice system to force the defendant to pay for. My name is Veronica. I'm a domestic violence defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. I am also the creator of Defeat the DVRO, a course in which I teach you everything you need to know to represent yourself at your restraining order hearing and win. So if that is something you're interested in, make sure you get your free first class via the link in the description box down below. Okay, so let's jump right in. What can the victim, using the criminal justice system, the DA, probation officers, judge, what can the victim force the defendant to pay for? And what I'm talking about here, you may have heard referred to before as restitution. Restitution is required as part of any sentence in which there is a victim in the state of California. In fact, if the defendant were to be convicted of a crime and the sentence did not include restitution, that would actually be a void sentence under California law. Now, what is covered by that? What's covered is payment to the alleged victim for any loss that can be attributed to the crime. Now, what can be attributed to the crime, right? That is the question here. And a lot of victims don't realize that they can claim this or what they can claim. They may think, you know what, I don't really have any losses. And even when they really hate the defendant and are doing everything that they possibly can to get the defendant thrown in prison, thrown in jail, have a felony instead of a misdemeanor, they will miss this and just say, I don't really have anything. I didn't go to the hospital. I don't feel like I really lost anything. They obviously don't realize that they actually do have losses that they could claim as part of the domestic violence case. So what can be claimed as restitution? The definition is actually very broad. All types of economic losses reasonably related to the crime. So let's get into some examples. Payment for the value of damaged property. Oftentimes, there's a cell phone that's broken, a remote control, maybe a piece of furniture, maybe there's a dent to the wall. All of that can be included in a restitution claim. Maybe personal belongings that the victim claims they left behind at the other party's place because they were too afraid to go back. Medical expenses, this is a more obvious one, but for treating injuries sustained during the abuse, hospital bills, medication costs, physical therapy. And actually, even if insurance covered that, that doesn't mean that the defendant gets a discount. The victim's insurance company may require reimbursement from the alleged victim, but that doesn't mean that the defendant gets a break. Mental health counseling expenses for therapy or counseling sessions to address the psychological impact of the abuse. Lost wages due to time spent attending court proceedings, medical appointments, or seeking legal assistance related to the case. If you are the alleged victim, you can probably claim the time that you spent watching this video. Really, it's that broad. As the alleged victim, if you had to talk to the detective, if you had to go into court, that's a big one, then you can probably claim that. Lost wages or profits if the victim had to take time off work or was unable to work due to injuries sustained during the abuse. And this includes psychological injuries, remember. Relocation expenses, including moving costs, if the victim had to relocate to a safer environment to escape the defendant. Temporary housing expenses. Okay, if you move out right away and you have to pay for an Airbnb or a hotel while you are looking for a new place, then that can be claimed. Security deposits and utility setup fees for a new residence. Security expenses, installation of home security systems like alarm systems or surveillance cameras. If you can reasonably claim as the victim that you bought those to enhance your own safety and protection. And this can be expenses that you actually haven't incurred yet, but you have an estimate of what they're going to be. Legal expenses. Okay, all of this is a pain to do on your own, right? To try to organize all of this, see, can I claim this, can I not? The DA's office is not all that concerned with money and with helping you on this always, even when you are assigned a victim's advocate. They're not always all that focused on this, but you can actually have your own attorney who can advise you, and the attorney's fees for that can actually be claimed as restitution. If you hired an attorney to help you with a restraining order case, that can be claimed. If you bought my course, Defeat the DVRO, to educate yourself on what to do to get your own restraining order, maybe you don't have the cash to hire an attorney right now, but you can purchase a course, literally that can be claimed. No joke, it can be claimed as part of restitution. So this is something that if you are a defendant in a criminal case, you should be aware of, you should be prepared for. And if you are the alleged victim in a case, most of you are leaving money on the table. So it is something to know and to be aware of. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have a criminal case in California, feel free to give me a call. You can find my number down below. You can also find a link to book a consultation there. If you have a restraining order case, make sure you get your free first class and defeat the DVRO. And if you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.